angels sing her praise. Ave Maria.
Praise be to Jesus and Mary. Well, first of all, till a couple of years ago, it was easy making a reflection to preach in this Memorial Day and to reflect by saying this. Well, Martha was scolded by the Lord, but at the end, she's the only one among her siblings that made it in becoming an official recognized saint by the Church. That is, since 2021 is no longer true because, Lazarus and Maria joined her sister in being recognized as a saint by the official liturgy of the Church. And today's Gospel, the one I wanted to be read, is famous for the much talked about issue of the relationship between active and contemplative life. Active and contemplative life, being like Martha or being like Maria, in Christian life can only be understood in light of something that is above active and contemplative life, which is charity, which is the issue of the first reading we made. Love, charity, is the essence of Christian life. And as everything that is important, we must find a way to answer this fundamental question. Where do I stand on charity? And of course, we need to remember that today's Gospel comes right after the Good Samaritan parable, which was centered, as you know, on an act of external charity, and hence the importance of finding the basis of a strong and enduring charity. And that is today's Gospel issue. And the attitude of Martha and Maria are like, I use a word that is drawn by the business terminology, like a benchmark to each other, active and contemplative life, in order to make sound judgments about the direction of our spiritual life. Because, the parable of Good Samaritan, you talk about an act of external charity. And that is the whole point of the scolding of Martha by Jesus, even external acts of charity, if not properly, feeded constantly with a personal relationship with Jesus, are not going to endure. Of course, the human nature is not corrupt, so even without the grace of God, we can do some good things, right? But they are not going to endure. It is not our Christian vocation to love in a human way, or to love only in a human way. And evidence of this is precisely the attitude of Martha. Her hectic schedule led her to become self-centered, at the point that she's the one who first scolds Jesus. Because when she says, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me by myself to do the serving?" she is actually scolding Jesus, which is far off the mark, But even the life of prayer can have this kind of problem. Because, every time the prayer do not enhance the contemplative life, do not enhance love of my neighbor, that means that the prayer is just something that remains between me and me. Like, if you remember, the prayer of the Pharisee at the temple. He was praying, yes, of course, it was external praying, but it was not really in the presence of God. God and his neighbor were in the background, not at the forefront of his prayer, because he was, praising himself. He was not praising God for being, a good man. And so, every time prayer do not lead me to love others, it means that prayer is not going well. And every time doing good things for God does not lead me to having a personal relationship with Jesus, that Jesus, stays in the background, that it means that my acts of charity are not going to endure. They are not good. They are done for myself. I do it for myself, not for God and not for my neighbor. So we need to, put together active and contemplative life in order to grow in charity. Charity is the fundamental reference to understand if my active and contemplative life are in good stand, and that is the most important thing. Because our Christian vocation is to commit ourselves as much as we can to imitate the love of Jesus for us, which is, of course, a divine way of loving. A love that is not only founded on human reason, so we love also with our human nature, but Christian vocation is a love, nurtured by grace, which is a divine way of loving. A love that pays the price of it, a love that goes to the end, even at the point of offering one's own life for the good of our brothers and sisters. And here the example that comes to mind to us as a friars, also for you as lay people, you probably already know him very well, the example of Saint Maximilian Mary Kolbe. In this regard, he is a martyr of charity. Maria got the message. That's the difference between the two sisters in today's gospel. And that is why her example is praised by Jesus in order to make us understand which is the true source of charity, that is our strong relationship, personal relationship with Jesus in prayer and in contemplation, that finds its focal point in prayer and in contemplation of what? First and foremost, of the great things that Jesus has done and is doing every day for us. And here, the most important example is that of Our Lady in her attitude in the Magnificat. My soul glorifies the Lord. My soul magnifies the Lord. The first thing in prayer is to make God big in our life. So to praise, to contemplate what He has done for us and not what we are doing in good and bad things as well. And may the example of Our Lady in the Magnificat nurture our prayers and her active charity. Well, when she was singing the Magnificat, she was in the context of doing an act of charity in helping Elizabeth because she was waiting a baby. And an active charity grounded in God's love enkindle our daily commitment to love as Jesus loved us. Praise be to Jesus and Mary.